From mud, the first walls rise, and dawn illuminates a city of wet clay and ash. By the Tigris, a potter lifts a slick vessel, smoke stinging his eyes. Here, humanity's story shifts. The steady flow of irrigation fixed the seasons, and with surplus came specialized tasks, turning scattered settlements into the world's first towns. Before the legends were written, the ledgers were kept. In a riverside workshop, nearly 3,000 years before the Common Era, a scribe presses reeds into damp clay. With writing, abstract rules hardened like fired tablets. Law and taxation began to bind strangers into a single, cohesive society. As rulers fixed measures and demanded their share, authority became a system. Along the Nile, across the Indus, and toward the Yellow River, fields and streets adjusted to this new order, laying the foundations for a connected world. While empires rose and fell in the Old World, new civilizations were taking root across the globe. Wind skimmed loess on the Yellow River plain, maize was ground on stone in Mesoamerica, and terraces stepped down the high Andes. States and empires tested the limits of tribute and trade, their caravans and ships carving the first channels of a global network. But to truly bind these worlds, something more was needed, an idea of how to belong. In a shaded courtyard, a teacher recites and a student bows. In the philosophies of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism, humanity found a code for how to live with others and with oneself. These ethics traveled with merchants and envoys, shaping kingdoms and families alike. Elsewhere, by a quiet stream or in a bustling marketplace, the paths of Taoism, Judaism, and Christianity offered balance, covenant, and mercy, their sacred texts binding distant communities into a shared story. Then monsoon winds filled a brown sail, and a new revelation joined faith with trade. With Islam providing a shared language of law and learning, merchants linked the vast deserts to the far seas. Along these routes moved not just silk and spice, but revolutionary ideas, paper, which reshaped memory, and the compass, which remade the map. These new arteries of exchange carried both progress and peril. From Asia, printing and gunpowder spread, transforming knowledge and warfare. But the same routes that carried wealth also carried the Black Death in the 14th century, a devastating reminder of a new shared vulnerability. Today, our supply chains, our laws, and our responses to pandemics still echo these first global networks. We are their heirs. And soon, sails would leave the monsoon lanes behind, venturing into the unknown to change the map forever. Salt wind whips the deck of a creaking caravel. The Columbian Exchange would reshape diets and ecologies across continents, while the brutal Atlantic slave trade chained millions to feed the appetites of maritime empires. As new routes tied the Old World to the New, the Enlightenment asked a radical question: who should rule? The idea of a citizen, of sovereignty belonging to the many, not the few, traveled from port to port, sparking revolutions in the United States and in France. That promise of freedom echoed under a Caribbean sun as Haiti rose against its chains and leaders across Latin America broke from imperial rule. But as freedom widened for some, the soot of the Industrial Revolution rose, turning steam into muscle and pulling families into factories. Inequality grew and resistance gathered. The 20th century was forged in the fire of 2 world wars, the horror of genocide, a long Cold War, and the slow, painful birth of new nations from the ashes of empire. Today, a digital revolution connects us in seconds. We see the promises of civil rights and gender equality press forward, even as we face existential challenges like climate change. And in our debates over genome editing, artificial intelligence, and the future of our shared planet, we hear the faint echoes of our ancestors. asking the same timeless questions of who we are and what we will become together.